You're watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, big topic, a new technology that literally destroys fat cells and is, in some cases, an alternative to traditional liposuction. With us, we have an expert on the topic, a medical doctor that has been using this technology for quite some time, Dr. Fotinos. Dr. Fotinos, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Alvarez.
So it actually called me Randy, by the way.
Randy?
So before we get into today's topic, and I have a lot of questions, and you brought photos, by the way, and I've seen the photos. Really, really good. So literally freezing the fat cells and killing them, and then your body eliminates them.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, good. So your center, though, you do more than this procedure. It's Revita Age Management Center. Tell me a little bit about it. Who's the typical patient and what are the different procedures you do?
Well, we have a clinic in South Charlotte. We also have a clinic in downtown Charlotte. Basically, what we do is hormone replacement in the form of bioidentical hormone replacement. That's one of the services we offer there.
You love that, by the way.
Oh yeah, oh my God, it's my passion. It's what I love to do. So the other thing we do is weight loss. We use HCG for patients that are larger. We also use CoolSculpting for patients that need to get rid of that stubborn fat. And we also do an erectile dysfunction clinic where we use a trimix medication that we inject. So
this CoolSculpting, that's the freezing of the fat that you do. Patients like it? They're responding well to it?
They love it, Randy. They love it immensely. They see great benefits, great results. I have a woman that's actually finally able to get into some jeans that she's always worn in the past.
Okay.
Because she's gained some extra weight, and now she's able to get in those jeans.
Now we've talked, you say, so these women, you're helping them with nutrition, with exercise, optimizing their hormones.
Yeah.
But why the CoolSculpting? How did you make that transition?
Well, the cool thing about CoolSculpting was the technology was really intriguing. You know, it was people sitting there an hour per section of the body, and it was non-invasive. You just plug them to the machine, they could sit there and read and relax. And it really, the research shows that you get these significant reductions in fat and without the downtime. And most of the patients that come through my clinic, they're very busy people. They have to get back and do what they need to do. And on top of that, they get to see these results within 2 to 3 months of where they lose this area of fat they've always tried to get rid of. And if anybody knows how it is, if you work out, where's the hardest place to lose fat? And typically it's in the belly area.
And that's what this is good for.
Yes.
And for people just tuning in, and we're talking about, I like to say, new breakthroughs we're talking about, but this is fairly new. But it's these are plates, so I understand this correctly. Yeah. Plates that go on a patient's abdomen. Yeah. And they freeze.
Yeah, basically the machine, the way it
cool the fat to the point of killing the fat cell.
Yeah, basically
certain fat cells.
Yeah, but you don't go to freezing level. You go just above freezing, basically. And it's 2 plates, yes, but it's in a device that sucks in the tissue and basically cools between the 2 plates. And it gets to about a little bit above freezing temperature. And what we found through research, and this is again Harvard-born research, they saw that the freezing mechanism causes the fat in the cells to crystallize, and that causes damage to the membrane, which is the wall of the cell.
All right.
And that triggers the cell. That cell cannot survive with that, so it triggers the cell to kill itself. And you have a finite, which means a limited amount of cells in your body that are dedicated to fat cells. So if you kill those cells off, you never get them back. That's what's the cool thing.
So the body eliminates those fat cells?
Yeah, basically what happens, the cells die off. They release these chemicals that trigger these other cells that come in and eat those fat cells up. And over a 2 to 3 month period, you'll see a reduction in that fat.
So it's called CoolSculpting. And what do they call it? What are the patients? When they call, what's this new technology that freezes fat, or what do they call it?
They say, I want to freeze my fat. I heard this thing, or some people don't even know what it is.
It's been on the doctors. I've seen it on the docters.
And Dr. Oz has had it too on his show. And if you look at CoolSculpting, that's who they pretty much show that video. And he's he pushes it. He sees that it works. Okay. But basically, a lot of people, they don't even know what it is. They drive, they'll drive and they say, I saw this ad for, CoolSculpting and, it's something about getting rid of fat. And then, one of our staff members will go through and tell them what we actually do.
You've had it done?
Yes, I have.
And where'd you have it done?
In my abdomen. I usually do it. I do pretty much everything in the clinic to kind of get an idea of what the patient's going through.
Okay.
So
did it work for you?
It did work for me. Yes, I see a significant reduction. My area was here. I've always had that issue. I'm pretty thin everywhere else. It's just that area has always been
the abdomen.
Yes.
Right. And then so tell me the process for you, because so it goes in. And these machines, it's about $100,000 machine.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. Yes, you definitely.
So you just lay on a bed. How does it work?
Well, it depends on what area you're having. The 2 areas that are currently we're allowed to do as FDA cleared is the abdomen and in the flanks. Okay.
So areas you could pinch the fat out.
Yes, and
fit in the machine.
And that's one of the guidelines is to pitch. You got to be able to pinch the fat. You got to be able to see that shadow underneath the fat. You got to be able to kind of pull it out and do it. People that have what they call visceral fat, which is fat inside the body, are not good candidates for this. So if you got this big mound of belly or something that you really can't pitch and it's just your whole belly, not a very good candidate for this. But somebody who has that little fat that you can feel over the surface of the belly, that's at the ideal.
It's not coming off with diet and exercise.
Yeah, yeah. This is the ideal candidate is the patient that cannot get it off no matter how hard that they
Now,
work out.
liposuction is the #1 procedure, I guess.
Yeah.
One of the #1 procedures, cosmetic procedures. Is this an alternative?
Yes, it is. Totally.
For many people?
Yeah, for many people, yes. And many people that don't want to be cut on, that don't want to have downtime. It's an excellent procedure for that.
And the patients like it. Like, what do they say? I mean, what do they take? Give me an example.
I'll give you an example. As far as the procedure itself, I've actually walked in on patients falling asleep in the procedure, or they're actually sitting there doing computer work. We have internet, so it's not very painful. You're not uncomfortable, and they do see these results. And like I said before, we had a lady that you don't see the pounds come off. It's more the inches come off, and she got into these jeans that she's always tried to wear in the past, and she finally got into them, and she was happy to do that.
So I understand this correctly, because this isn't a product where it just, like, certain wraps where you're 2 inches smaller. You're actually killing certain fat cells that will never return.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, that's true, because we have finite amount of fat cells, and when you trigger this problem, which it causes the cells to die, then you don't get it back. I mean, they're not going to come back.
And the pricing is a lot less expensive than liposuction.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot
Yeah, because
less.
you're not paying for anesthesia and all these other things that occur.
And it's non-invasive. Yep. So they do multiple treatments. Tell me about that.
Well, we recommend multiple treatments because you lose about 22 to 23% of the fat per session. The cool thing about it, you can repeat the session at least after 4 weeks after have done it. You can repeat as many times as you need to.
Okay.
So we recommend two procedures because it's 50% reduction.
So what are the different categories of patients that are coming in for this?
Well, one of the first categories is a thin patient that has these, the belly or the love handles or the muffin top, as we call it. They're typically very good candidates because they're the ones that actually exercise. They try to eat as healthy as they can, but it's so stubborn to get rid of that. That would be the first kind of category of patient.
Is that your favorite to work with?
Well, actually, my favorite's the next category, which is people that are slightly obese. That you can get that good suction to bring all that fat into that machine, and you can see it in the device. It's really cool.
So 40, 50 pounds overweight. I mean, if they're doing their best, nutrition, exercise. I mean, you look at the area, you'll know whether they're right for it or not.
Well, 40, 50 is a little bit too high. You're talking about 20 to 25 pound patients.
Okay.
Those patients are really good candidates because typically it's all located in this area, and you're not going to see 20 pounds come off your weight. Don't expect that. What you're going to see is 1 to 2 pounds, but you're going to see the inches come off. You're going to see more definition. My partner who works with me, he's one of those thin guys that always has that little pooch right here, and we've done 2 sessions on him, and he can now see his abs.
Well, can you do multiple sessions? I mean, you're not just reserved to 2.
No, you can do as many sessions as you want, and you continue to kill those fats until.
Are you going to go back and continue to
do it?
I mean, if I owned one of those machines, I think I would be in there all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, kind of, my time is, it's an hour procedure, so per session is about an hour. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of your patients first. But I would definitely I'm going to definitely go.
Now, I guess, are there off-label areas you can use it? It has to be a flat surface or pinchable surface?
It's typically pinchable surface. Some people in Europe are doing more areas because they don't have the regulations on them.
Like where?
Like the back. They can do the back, the thighs, the arms. Anywhere you could pinch a little roll of fat, you can definitely do it on that. They're coming out with different heads now. Right now they have 3 heads. 2 are the smaller heads and then 1 big head. Which is, the head is basically where the suction of the fat goes and where the 2 plates are. But they have they're coming up with their heads, so we can do other areas.
So abdomen, the love handles, that's the most popular. Is it more women than men?
It's about even 50-50.
Okay, good. Now you brought some photos, and for people, again, we're talking about CoolSculpting. It's an FDA cleared procedure to kill fat cells for fat reduction, and a couple of procedures, pretty good results. Now, I should mention this in all fairness to you, that you had photos of patients of your own, and I said, unless you have signed releases, we can't use them on the show.
Yeah.
But we could use the ones that are on the website of the manufacturer. I just want people to know that these photos are not your patients, but they're samples of what's possible. And I haven't talked to this company to use these, but you're okay with using these photos?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yes.
So let's take a look. What are we looking at here?
Well,
these are samples.
The first one I have here is of a lady. You can see on the back the folds in the lower back area where the shadow is. That's the target area where we like to go to. And if you ask this patient, she's probably going to say that's what I want to get rid of.
Okay.
And if you just look at the next page, you can see that there's significant reduction, and you can see it from the lighting.
Have you seen that? And I know these aren't your patients, but have you seen things like this?
Oh yeah, I have a lady that
where you have folds and then you have no folds?
Yeah, I had a lady that was the main reason she came in. She came into one of our seminars. We do seminars monthly where we sit down and tell future patients.
When were you going to tell me about these seminars? We've talked a few times. Maybe I missed that part. Okay, so you have seminars to talk about cool sculpting.
Yeah, then basically we come in, we have kind of video, and I come in there and I talk about it, and we can even sometimes have a patient that we demonstrate on.
Really?
My partner, for the second session, we demonstrated that to our patients, and kind of went through and attached the device to him, and they saw how it looks and everything like that.
So over time, do you have anybody that's on their 4th and 5th session?
Not yet, but we have had several people on their second session.
So the company is recommending that you just do 2?
Yeah, 2 sessions. Yes.
But you could do more?
Yes, you
Or
can.
is that off-label as well?
No, they recommend you can do more. Yes.
Well, so you could do, and probably 4 or 5 sessions is still less than traditional liposuction.
Oh yeah.
What about safety with this?
It's very safe. And the cool thing about the device, it actually has built-in safety measures where if it gets too cold, it'll shut off the device and it'll give you a trigger. So the only key is to worry about getting too cold. That's the only issue.
Has this been scientifically known all along that by cooling fat to certain temperatures, low temperatures, you create this lipolysis? Is that what you call it?
Well, it's cryolipolysis.
Cell death?
It's called cryo is cold, lipolysis is the breakdown of fat, so it's cryolipolysis. And it actually it came from observations, and again, Harvard doctors had seen this, and they came up with this method of freezing fat to reduce it in humans. But studies were done on pigs because fat's very similar to humans and pigs. But what they did was 2 observations. One was seeing kids with popsicles. And when they were prolonged sucking on the popsicles, they found that they were causing dimpling in their faces.
Interesting.
And that observation came from seeing all these kids. But then the other observation was it's called cold equine paniculitis. Basically, they were noticing these Scandinavian women that were getting these dimples in their legs from being exposed to cold when they were riding horses.
Interesting.
And so both those observations, they said that freezing the fat or the exposure to the cold was doing something to these fat cells. Well, they started doing research and they found that when you freeze the fat crystallizes within these cells and causes damage to the membrane of those cells. By doing that damage, those cells cannot survive and they get removed from your body. And they get eaten by these cells called macrophages.
So when cells die in the body, I don't pretend to know anything about this, but when they die in the body, then your body, eliminates them?
Yeah, absorbs them, and then you either urinate out the byproducts or use the energy that you get from the fat. It just depends.
Gets rid of those. Okay, so you have more photos. Now, these are from the website. Let me take a look at these. These are not your patients.
These are not my patients. Here was an abdomen, pretty good abdomen. A lot of people would die for an abdomen like this, but if they were to wear a dress or anything like that, you would see a little bit of pooch there. So some people would have to wear Spanx for this type of abdomen.
All right.
So, yeah. So and you can see it's in the very of your picture. It's going to be the right side. You see the little pooch there, and basically. What happens is that's the ideal place for cool sculpting to be applied to get rid of that.
Right around the belly button area.
Yeah, perfect, yes.
Okay.
And then if you look at the second picture, you can see that area has significantly been reduced. And that person will probably look smashing in a dress.
Looks very nice.
Yeah.
But your patients?
Yeah.
I mean, are they, like, the feedback with them is they love it. They're pleased.
They're happy. I have a gentleman that we have another type of weight loss program that I mentioned earlier. He did that program, but he had that stubborn fat still there. And then I looked at him and I said, man, you might be an ideal candidate for cool sculpting. And he was like, do you think so? And I was like, yeah. So we did it. We pinched that fat.
So if you could pinch that inch or 2 inches.
Yeah. And we put that device on him.
It's like dissolving the fat.
Yes.
Interesting.
Basically, it's like, yeah. And
I don't mean to be so skeptical, but it does sound a little too good to be true in certain respects.
Well, when I first looked at it, I was like, really? But everybody's got to be a skeptic before they can really believe in something. You have to show them that it works. And then, I saw the research, and then when you see the device on the people, and then you see the results from it, it becomes more reality.
So I interrupted you. Okay, so the guy tried dieting on your program that you have there.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight on that, but he couldn't get rid of this area and this area. He had that, had those love handles, and you're like, man, come on. And I was like, well, I got this device here. Let's try this. And we plugged it up to him, and you could see a significant reduction.
What does he say?
He's happy. He's great. I mean, it's like, man, that's the area that I want to get rid of.
Could you go a pant size down?
Yeah. Yeah, but 1 to 2 inches. He actually is going to come back and do a second session. He wants to get back and try another session.
Is it a package of 2, or do they go?
We could do it a package of 2. Again, you got to call. We can set that up. So.
Okay, more photos. What else are we looking at here?
Okay, I have a lady here.
And these are from the website of the CoolSculpting website. These are not your patients.
These are not my patients.
But samples of what's possible.
Yeah. Here's an abdomen that's common. I see a lot of this. In fact, we have a lot of patients that have this kind of problem with the abdomen being with that extra fat there. And a lot of people don't see it in public because a lot of these women cover themselves up, or we said, we've used before, we use Spanx and stuff like that. But this is a common problem that I see. And if you see, her trouble area is right below the navel. You see
the lower abdomen.
Yeah, the lower abdomen. You see the shadowing there. And if you, then that's the traditional area that's difficult to get rid of when you exercise and diet. I mean, this is what I constantly see from patients. They come in, they say, hey, this is where I want to get rid of, and this is the hardest place to get rid of. But now I want you to look at the after on this one.
Okay.
You can see this that significant shadowing.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference. And this person is going to be the person that's going to say, hey, you know what? I want to show off my abdomen now. I'm going to wear that shirt that's not going to go over my abdomen, or I'm going to wear a nice dress and whatnot. Their self-esteem is going to get higher because of that. We're not in the process of just getting rid of fat. We're in the process of improving your self-esteem. People like that is going to run out and say, hey, look at me. I've lost all this fat area in my belly. So you can see.
I mean, after pregnancy, I guess that's a very tough.
Oh yeah.
It's unfair. I guess women have that area. It's tough to get rid of.
Yeah.
So you'd like to see more of this type of patient come in?
Yeah,
because this isn't really an overweight person.
Yeah,
they just have that little kind of a sloppy area.
Because I can truly help them. If you have the ability to help somebody, you want to do it. And that's what we're here as physicians. We want to help people. And if I can take it from that before picture to that after picture, I'm helping somebody. But you got to see this next one I have. I have a gentleman that's fairly fit again. But look at his love handles. That's a typical patient. That's somebody that wants to, hey, you know what? I got that first part. I got that second part. I got that third part. Now it's that fourth part that I'm trying to get, and it's the hardest thing to get rid of.
All right.
And basically, and this is from the website again. Again, it's not my typical patient. It's not the patient this is not one of my patients, actually.
Okay.
And if you see what they did, and this is kind of a cruel joke, they offered this treatment to this gentleman, but I guess they just did one side to kind of show the difference. Okay. And if you see in the after picture, and
so the right side looking at this has been done, and the left side they left alone.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it's a significant change, It is. And they're trying to show, hey, this is going to happen. This is what you're going to see on both sides, but we're going to do it as comparison. And it's funny about this gentleman. They did, I think, either 2 years, and you can see it on the website from there.
How do you know this story? Because it's not your patient.
Well, it's not my patient.
Read about it?
But the CoolSculpting, they come in and they tell you about it, and they train you on how to do this machine. And this is a very compelling one because 2 years, this guy actually gained more weight, but that same area stayed the same. You can see the right, his left side on him, what we're looking at on his right side, went over. You could see it. Mm-hmm. And that same area just didn't gain fat because those fat cells are gone. They're not.
So you're not just shrinking the fat cells.
No, you're killing them.
Okay, interesting.
And you're using what you're using them. You're getting rid of them. You want to get rid of them. That's what the goal is.
So you have the love handles, the abdomen. Mm-hmm. And now what about the age range of the patients?
I mean, I see pretty much any range. The average is around age 35.
About 35?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about older patients?
I do some older patients. Actually, I had a lady that is 69 years old come in.
69 years old getting CoolSculpting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, she's great. Oh, she's phenomenal. I got her on other programs. But that's one of the areas she wanted to get, she's like, ah.
Would you like to see more older patients?
Oh, I'd love to. I love older patients. They have the greatest stories.
I didn't tell you this, but about a year ago, and I always feel like I'm in the know of all the new things, mm-hmm. right? And a friend of mine calls me and says his girlfriend is getting this new technology that freezes the fat mm-hmm. and kills the fat, and it's as good as liposuction for the right person. And I remember saying, I've never heard of anything like this. I would have been the first person to know about these kind of things. Yeah. And of course, everybody's talking about it now. But now, do you still have other medical doctors that are skeptical? That means like me that say, no, I don't believe it.
Well, actually, I don't hear a lot of that.
Okay, in fact, so it's more mainstream now.
Actually, I've had some doctors come to talk to me about it. They've asked me about it. So it's more mainstream, definitely. It's funny, if you stamp Harvard on it, which, again, this is Harvard doctors.
So the initial studies were done at Harvard?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so people are going to be more likely than somewhere across overseas or in the Caymans or something like that. They're going to be more pushed for, hey, yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
The results are pretty good.
The results are pretty good, especially if you do that second session. 20% reduction in somebody who has an abdomen that we showed you before, where it's, they just have a little bit of pooch. You're not going to see a 20% reduction. Somebody bigger, and that's why I told you I like the people.
20% is big, by the way.
It's a big production.
No matter how large you are, it's still a big, chunk of fat.
Well, think about almost 50%. You'll definitely see a difference there.
Have you ever seen 50% reduction?
I've seen, yes.
Okay.
I've had a couple patients that have had that.
And we are out of time, but if you could kind of go through these other photos.
Well, some of the ones that I have
from the website.
One of the biggest areas that I have a big complaint from a lot of women is the muffin top, the dreaded muffin top, right? You put the fat that when you put your jeans on, it just hangs over the top.
All right.
I have a couple pictures. I'll show you the first one. The before picture. You see. She's not. Again, a lot of women would be happy with that muffin top, but why settle?
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that I understand. Why are we settling for this stuff? If we have the technology to remove that area and get you in even skinnier jeans or a nice dress where you don't see that area.
So this after, it's very nice.
It's significant. It's very significant.
If those are the same pants, that is a good
and
result.
we tell patients to come back with the same clothes that you came before. You need to come back after. In combination, when somebody sees that they're getting these areas, they don't want to mess this up. So they want to eat better. They want to exercise. So it's going to not only improve their overall appearance, it's going to thrust them to a healthier lifestyle. And that's the goal of our clinic. Do
you see that? After they've spent the money, that they start eating better.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
taking better care of themselves.
Of course, because they're like, hey, it's a motivation. It makes you feel good. You're like, hey, I look great. Now, what else can I do for my body? Well, you know what? I'm taking in this nasty food that I don't. It's going to damage me. It's going to cause problems later in my life. So why don't I just start eating healthiher? Here's another one. I have. If you look at the backside, and a lot of women don't like men looking at their backside, and the main reason is one of those other things that I told you again is those muffin tops. Look at the difference here. And this is guys are going to look at this and say, well, that's not a big difference, but a woman, she's going to look at that. She's going to look at that and say, that's a big difference.
I'm a guy. I think that's a big difference.
I think it's a huge difference, and you could see, it's the same jeans. And you can see how, they're just, she's getting that little area above, it's just falling over.
And we should mention, too, again, we're talking about, and I'm calling it freezing the fat, but cooling the fat to create cell death, killing the fat cells,
yes,
some of the targeted fat cells, and then the body just eliminates them, and they don't come back.
Yeah.
And that's what this woman, I guess, with nutrition, exercise, and this cool stuff.
It's a combination of all that together. And
these are not your patients, but these are from the website of this machine,
yes,
the CoolSculpting.
Yeah.
But you're seeing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a typical result. Okay. It's a typical result. You'll
you showed me some of your patients, and for people just showing up we need signed clearances to get these done. But you are going to get more and more photos that you'll put on your website.
Yeah, we are actually already doing that.
Oh, so you have pictures on your website now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we'll definitely continue to do that so people can see the process of and the way people are getting good benefits from this.
So the leaner person and they can grab their love handles, grab the fat around their belly button area.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Is that right? Just dissolve it right off.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you call it dissolving it, melting it, freezing it off? What do you call it?
Removing it permanently.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. All right.
I tell people we freeze it off, but it's the way it's to put in their mind a perspective. This is not going to come back.
Okay. And that's why you have to do multiple treatments, because it doesn't get every single fat cell every single time.
Exactly. It doesn't get every single fat cell, but what our goal is to try to reduce as many of those fat cells.
All right. What else do you have there?
I have
probably time for two more.
Yeah, I have a side view. Again, you see the before and after picture here. You see that the abdomen, again, this is
a subtle difference, but
it's significant. Even though it's subtle, it's significant. A lot of people will settle for that before picture. They say, hey, you know what? That's good. But why? When you can show those nice abs.
That looks like a female's torso.
Yeah.
I could tell by the longer hair on the before. But it will make a difference in a small dress.
Yeah.
Flat stomach.
Yeah. And even at the beach, she can go out and show her abdomen off. And she can show that six-pack that she has underneath there.
Okay,
know?
you've had a couple of treatments yourself.
I've had one treatment. I'm getting a second treatment. Yes.
Okay. You know what I want to do? I'm going to challenge you in a year or so that whenever you fly back out here to California, where you show your abs on my show.
I will. I'll definitely do.
How's that?
I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Get some good before and after.
Yeah, I have to. I can do the befores now. So.
So the
next one I have here, again, is kind of the same layout as the previous one. You'll see again, somebody would be happy with that abdomen, but I'm looking at it and saying, hey, you can do better. Why can't you get rid of it all? And
you can tell, by the way, this isn't just sucking it in.
No.
They're getting rid of that little bit.
No, and they're seeing how they're posing the same way. You know, if you were sucking it in, you'll see the back straighten up, but they're posing.
Good point.
They're posing the same way. And that little bump there, you know, it may be not the most significant, you know, to most people, but to that person, it's big. And to a lot of women, that is big.
All right.
I got another one. Again, this one, this is again from the website.
It's subtle, but I will tell you, when you look close at this before and after, it's very smooth.
Yeah.
Because a little dimply.
Yeah. And if we had the side view of this, you can see there's that loss of that dimpling and stuff, and you'll see that it's smoothed down, but we don't have the side view of that one. So now I have another one, and this is of a man. This guy, you could tell it's a man, obviously. His back, you could see that folding there, you know, and that's
very nice.
A lot of guys don't want that.
A lot of guys, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Everybody doesn't want it. But if you look at it, he's lost that, you know, and this is not photoshopped or anything like that. They can guarantee you it's not photoshopped. It's the way it's supposed to be, and when you see those kind of results.
We're out of time. Great info. Somebody watching this and they're still skeptical, okay, but they've got unwanted fat that they can't get rid of. What do you say to them?
Well, I'll tell them to come in and see me. I'll do an evaluation.
Free consultation?
Come in and see me. I'll do a consultation. We'll take a look at you. If you're not a candidate, I'll tell you.
Have you ever had to say that to anybody?
Yes.
What do you say?
I say, hey, you know, you don't meet the criteria that we need for you to be in for us to do this procedure. Let's look at other alternatives. Because I don't turn away everybody. I mean, I don't turn people away trying not to help them on stuff. Because we have other things we can do for them.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Very good.
Thank you for having me.
Great info. You've been watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. If you would like to see this interview again online, you can go to our website, put in Dr. Fotinos' name, and if you can't spell that, and you can remember CoolSculpting, we'll have it there. And if you want to start a discussion on Twitter about what you saw today, you could put in #WellnessHour or #CoolSculpting. For now, I wish you good health.
Thanks for watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news with your host, Randy Alvarez, the authority on health issues.